Good evening. My name is Annie Conboy, and this is my letter from the light side. The channeled guidance from my inspirers, the non-physical beings who are around us to help us and to support us in the energy that we're living in. Sorry, I'm off laughing already. Because today's been beautifully sunny but very, very cold here. One of those crisp November days. You kind of remember winter is creeping up faster and faster. And so I'm all wrapped up and cosy, but I'm still thinking winter's on its way. I hope through this broadcast to give you some insight into the energy that we're working with at the moment, and the things that energetically we can expect to have coming up for us over the next week or two. I'm really excited because we're actually on a new moon. It's so wonderful to be in that new moon energy because it's always, for me, a signal of new beginnings and new directions. So really exciting to be in this beautiful energy. Also really excited, although I haven't seen it, that we've got the Aurora Borealis very active at the moment. A huge solar flare last week has led to this energy. So we've got a couple of things happening in the heavens, so to speak, that are going to be influencing us, because we do get influenced by the moon and the sun, and they impact on our lives at a very cellular and energetic level. So you might also find that your sense this week of what's practical or what's doable might have been up and down and all over the place. For me, the solar energy represents our manifesting side, our making it so, and from that, how we bring our inner creativity into the outer world. So it might have felt a little bit muddled this week, trying to get things off the ground or trying to have a sense of where you're moving to, what your direction is, and sort of, I'll do this, no, I'll do that, and maybe I'll do this, and probably being in two minds about what actions and steps you want to take in the first place. So, coupled with this beautiful return of the moon, with the supermoon energy, we've got an extra bit of blast behind this moon, where the emotions might be running a little bit higher this week than normal. Maybe finding yourself a little bit emotionally in a confused state as well, and recognizing maybe that the emotional flow in your life isn't running as smooth as it should do. So still a little bit of turbulence, but the way to deal with it is to recognize the impact of these energies on your physical, mental, emotional and spiritual self, and try to bring those energies into a more balanced sorry, I'm laughing, I'm Libra, I'm hardly ever in balance. so trying to harmonize your life. You might have found that things are getting a little bit calmer than the past few weeks. Some of the dreams have died back and some of the more turbulent energies are fading into the background. We have had a big release of emotional energy, and that's just dying back. So it's getting a little bit calmer. Not totally calm. Sorry, Rafe's in the background laughing his head off. Every time my Aurora alert has pinged, he's gone, oh, excitement, more energy. And I've gone, oh no, more healing to do. So we are gently getting into the more easy energy. I love this time of year I love it because what we're doing is we are getting into the reflective time of the year. We've just celebrated on the pagan tradition, the pagan wheel, the ending of one year and the beginning of a new year. And I love the idea that the pagan year, the Wicca year, starts with a period of reflection, that you're going into the darker, shorter days. You're going into the time when it was tradition to gather round and to talk about the year. This is on the northern hemisphere, of course, and the southern hemisphere it flips. And of course, for the southern hemisphere, they're just coming into their full length of light. We're losing the light, they're gaining the light. And I love that. I love that as a planet we've got this duality, the idea that the light swaps from one side to the other, that the length of the day changes. Rafe always makes me smile because he says that'll do a flat earther's head in. Just the fact the length of day changes, but it changes differently depending on which side of the earth you're on. So we've got this reflective period in the northern hemisphere to help us to start to think about the year that we've just had, and remember that we've come through that. One of the key points of the reflective time of year, of the darker parts of us, is reflecting how this year has been, but also remembering what we have achieved. And I'm a great believer, and Rafe is certainly always on my case about, think about what you've managed, think about what you've achieved, think how far you've come, because when we're in it, we don't stop and see it. We don't recognise the way we've come on and the difference. I'm smiling because they got me on Facebook ages ago, but now they've got me on YouTube live, and it's like and they would no doubt have me on Instagram at the same time if they could manage it. So sometimes we have to pause and we have to say, what's the achievement? And I always think every day is an achievement. I know the guides remind me, remember the day as being a good day, even if it's not all been good. You've been alive, you've experienced it. So this last week of energy, of the kind of easing off of some of the turbulence, is about letting us gracefully, gently slide into the next phase of energy. And this is represented by the new moon and the shift in the emphasis of what we are going to be doing in the next season. And of course, the other thing to remember is that the absence of light isn't a bad thing. Rafe's always encouraged me to consider my shadow side, consider the side of me that hopefully no one else gets to see, but that is in there that I see. And for me to look at all those bits that I keep saying, oh, that's not me being good enough, or that's not me being kind, or that's not me being compassionate, and look at those bits and actually remind myself that that is not all that's me, and that sometimes I am a human being in low vibration, as we all are. And it's understanding that we don't have to stay in those low vibrations. We have the option of boosting ourselves out of them, of bringing in more light. But actually, the other thing, I work with a goddess called the Morrigan, Celtic goddess, and she's putting her energy through right now. And she is a lady who embraces the dark. She inhabits the dark, if you like, because it's her job to help us to switch off our light at the end of our life, to make that transition back into the afterlife, and make that transition back from the dark of the journey, if you like. The transition is the dark, because we go back to the light. We've come from the light, we go back to the light. And she is the one who holds the space, if you like, for death to be the transition that we need it to be. And I feel like what we have to remember in these darker parts of our year, when there appears to be a visible absence of light, when the moon disappears and goes into its dark phase, that doesn't mean that we are encompassing or encountering bad or evil or any kind of blocking our path. What we have to do is learn to embrace that dark and to understand it's a transitional phase. Everything that is on your shadow side is an aspect of you that you've chosen to not use anymore, or that you've chosen to step away from because it doesn't feel like the right thing for you to do. And this goddess energy is really our signal that we are approaching the return of the divine feminine, and we need to understand the feminine energy that flows within all of us. Every human being, we've got duality. That's why we've got two hemispheres. We've got duality. We've got this lovely flow of masculine and feminine, and we're trying to find the balancing point. We're trying not to be toxic masculine and toxic feminine. We're trying to come into the middle. We're trying to bring a balanced approach. And also it's the same with the light and the dark. Seedlings need the dark. They don't grow in the light. You bury them in the soil and they're put in the dark deliberately to get them to germinate, to get them to start growing, to get them to build their roots and then pop their heads, their little leaves that start to perk up through the soil. Sorry, she's throwing so much at me at once. And we have to remember, out of our year, we've had a lot of light now. Now we need the dark. We need to plant the fresh seeds. We need to be in that little bit of dark to let us grow, to let us germinate, to let us find the new direction in which we're going to grow. And that's what's wonderful about this time of year, is starting that journey into the new growth. It won't emerge till spring, but we've got the opportunity. And in this beautiful supermoon energy, and we've got the opportunity to start to say what it is we require and desire, and where we're going to be next spring. It's sending that wave out, transmitting that desire and saying, can you bring me this or something very like this? I am being reminded by Rafe to be careful what you wish for, because sometimes you get the absolute perfect thing, but it's got a little bit of snags. As I found out with my studio recently, perfect, but snags. And the reminder that nothing in this life is perfect. So what I desire will come in, but it doesn't mean it's going to be perfectly perfect. And we have to remind ourselves that good enough is good enough. That's the important part of our journey. That's the important reflection we need to have this next week. Is good enough is good enough. The energy that's coming in is, funnily enough, a lot calmer. There's a nice steady flow of energy through right the way up until next Wednesday. So it's a really good time to take a rest, take a break, take your ease, It's a really good time to just sit and maybe do some deeper thinking, maybe do a little bit of self-care, because it's a more easy pause. I did talk about us having a pause, Rafe says, and this is the pause coming up to allow us just to let out a breath and recognise that the world is still turning and everything is still right with the world. That's the important recognition this week. The world still turns and everything's still right with the world. And we are moving forward, even if we can't see it right now. I also feel like we've got to start watching from Wednesday for things that are going to be a little bit stormy. We're picking up some more turbulent energy that will actually carry us through to the end of November. So be aware that you may be affected by that energy, by the little bit of turbulence. But remember, what you're learning is to balance in an uncertain world. You're learning to hold your balance. And Rafe, he gives me the image all the time of a surfer riding a wave, and I keep telling him I'm going nowhere near surf and water and riding waves. but that's effectively what we are doing at the moment. We are getting ready for the next wave that's coming in and getting ready to surf easily and comfortably along that wave, even though it brings with it some turbulence. So use this pause, use this to ease yourself through the next few days, and really think about, are you doing enough for yourself? Are you keeping yourself in a good state? Think about the energy of the people around you. Are you taking on their energy too much? Do you need to reflect it back? Are you speaking your mind? Are you saying it how it is for you? It doesn't give any offence to anybody if you speak how it is for you. And if anybody reacts, it's their issues that are the reaction, not your issues. And we are in an age where we're having to formulate new ways of communicating. Words aren't quite the whole of the communication. We're now using our intuitive energy much more. The whole world is waking up. I've waited years for this, years. The whole world is waking up to intuition and to the energy exchange that intuition it involves. And so it's making sure that you reflect what's inside outwardly, to be speaking from your authentic self, and understanding that it's up to other people, if they react to that, for them to work out why they're reacting. And I say this as an important point because the energy turbulence often gets us reacting to things that we perhaps wouldn't normally react to, or to getting prickly like little hedgehogs, as if we have to defend ourselves from this energy. Well, we do have to keep this energy, this low vibrational energy, out of our aura, and making sure that you've got a lovely bubble around your aura and around your body. It's very easy. Your guides are desperate to show you how to do it. It's just imagining, visualizing a bubble and putting all the warmth and love in the bubble, and big keep out signs on the outside of the bubble for the low vibrational energy, so that you can really surf that wave, because you're not being overwhelmed by other people's energy. And while it's all being stirred up, that's really the most important thing you can do, is keep your energy clear and clean and safe, and to remind yourself that you are a being, a spirit being of light. Even when it seems very dark, you've got inside you this beautiful divine spark of light. You've got something precious inside. Doesn't matter whether you call it God, Goddess, Source, Central Sun, whatever you want to call it. You've got this light inside of you. I'm very much aware that we are in Diwali and this beautiful idea of light. And we've got successive celebrations coming up over the next 6 or so weeks that are all about light. And Rafe wants to remind you it's the light within. What's in your heart is a light, a spirit, a being of such brightness, if you could see it. And that there is no real absence of light in your life. The darkness is outside of you, mainly outside of you, although we've got that bit of shadow side. But if you can remember that you're a being of light, and again, I feel like the Morrigan's butting in here to remind you, what passes back to the afterlife is that being of light inside of you. We can't take that, the human body, it is of this world, it is atoms, it is matter of this world that cannot be taken across the void. What will go back is what's inside you, that beautiful radiating light. That will return to join all the other light back in the afterlife. So remember that you're never truly in dark. There is always that light in you, that if you get a little bit lost with yourself or feel alone or afraid of the dark, just just ask. I often put my hand on my heart and say, are you there? Are you there? Is there anybody there? And I have a lovely sensation of warmth and love that comes from that, which is the light showing itself. The light shining through to remind me, whatever else is happening on my human existence, when I return to the light, I will be light itself, the divine spark. So it's worth remembering when we have the turbulence. If you can, just remind yourself that you've got that light within you. You've got that way of navigating the turmoil of energy that we have in this world, because that true light never ever dims. That's amazing. It never goes out, it never dims. You always shine brightly, even when you can't see the light or sense the light, you're shining brightly. And I just want to add a little word from all the loved ones in spirit, because we're still in that kind of thin time. You will still be getting contact from the loved ones, trying as much as they can to share and to show you that they're there. I've done a string of readings today, and it's been wonderful how everyone has stepped in, to make it more. It's like I've had lots of people, not just one person, lots of people stepping in to speak, to pass their messages on and to give their love and encouragement and support, and to remind us that no matter how we feel, they feel we are doing the job we came here to do. And that's a simple job. That's sharing the light, radiating our uniqueness. So your loved ones in spirit will still be in that state of being able to contact you a little bit more easily. It's going to sort of die back a little bit, but just remember that you are loved, and there is so much around you to help you when we've got to surf this next tide. We are making change. It's inner change first, outer change second, and we are making changes bit by bit by bit. We will get there, and we will find the life that we were all passionately wanting to live. It is there waiting for us. We have to keep trusting, shining the light, and accept that the dark is our growing phase, is our little seedling of light. ready to break free and radiate when the time is right. Thank you very much, everyone. I know that you've been watching live here on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you if you've watched live. Thank you if you watch on catch up, as I know many of you do. I'm very privileged to be able to sit with you and give these little snippets of information from the other side, and hopefully your guides and loved ones will be around you and helping you and supporting you, because we all have to ride that surfboard one way or another, but we sometimes forget to notice that it's being carried and held up by the non-physical beings who care so much about us. I'll be back next week, 8:30. Fingers crossed. Have a lovely evening, everyone, what's left of it, but also have a super week going forward. Remember, we're in a pause, so take time out and enjoy. Take care. Bye.